Hello, St Paul's. I hope you've had a good week. I know for a lot of you it's been your very first week back after quite a long time. For some of you, you've been here with us each day, but I hope you've all had a lovely week in the sunshine that we've pretty much had every day. So each Thursday for our collective worship, we're going to have a theme and we'll call it Theme Thursday. And today our theme is going to be friendship. So I'll start by lighting the candle. We light this candle to remind us that God is with us in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, if I was to ask you who your best friend is or who one of your good friends are, I don't think you would tell me what they look like. I think you would tell me what they're like as a person and why they are such a good friend to you. What traits do they have? What's their personality like? And that's the most important thing in a friendship. What are they really like and why are they such good friends to you? The story I'm going to read today is called Barney Shows True Friendship. And perhaps you'll be able to relate to some of the characters in this story. Best friends were always close, but few were closer than Tom and Barney. They were best friends, and they had been forever, literally. They had been born in the same hospital, and their mums were in beds next to each other after they were born. As their mums and dads became friends, so did they. Both families went on holiday together every year and spent most weekends in each other's houses. The mums and dads would be in the lounge laughing, while Tom and Barney would be upstairs playing on Tom's computer, or reading Barney's Guinness Book of Records, or kicking the ball out in the garden. Tom's birthday was on the 3rd of October, and Barney's was on the 4th. They lived in the same street and went to the same nursery, the same infant school, and now they were at the same junior school, Mill Lane Juniors. They were now 9 years old and had just gone into year 5. They were in the same class, but they were in different groups and on different tables. As soon as they got out into the playground, they would get together, swapping football cards, playing football, playing basketball, shooting with each other with their fingers, and of course teasing the girls. Tom and Barney didn't understand girls. The girls on their playground just seemed to stand around or sit on the benches talking. What were they talking about, they wondered. One time, when Barney was waiting for Tom to come out of the playground, he thought he'd have a go at joining in with the conversation with the girls that they were having. It couldn't be that difficult. Erin, Lauren and Emily were sitting on one of the benches, eating their lunch and talking at the same time. He could never do that and was impressed that they seemed to be able to do it so easily. He walked over to them casually. The nearer he got, the louder and faster they seemed to talk, whilst munching their sandwiches at the same time. He couldn't understand why, but he began to get nervous. There was no way he could talk that fast, even when he wasn't eating. He couldn't work out how they seemed to know which one was going to speak next. There was no pointing, no commands like it's yours turn, Erin. They just seemed to know when one had finished and it was the other one's turn to speak. The boys he knew never did this. They just played or chased each other. He was close now, very close, so close he was almost touching them. There was a sudden silence as they stopped their conversation and looked at him. They had stopped speaking and munching and were wondering what he was doing, staring at them. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Lauren was just about to ask him what he was doing when his best friend came to the rescue. "Barney, it's year 5's turn for footy. What are you doing talking to the girls?" "Oh yeah, coming, Tom. Bye, girls." The girls looked at each other, shrugged and carried on, talking and eating quickly. Why didn't the girls like playing with cars? Why didn't they ever have football cards to swap? And why didn't they ever shoot each other with their magic fingers? Tom and Barney simply didn't understand them. Girls, they decided, were strange. There were many times over the years when Tom and Barney had relied on each other's friendship, and one in particular that they would never forget in October last year. Mr. Barnes, who ran the football team, told the children in worship that he had entered the school in a year 4 tournament on Saturday and he would pick the team at next practice. Tom Barney loved scoring goals and wanted to be in the team as strikers. Unfortunately, that year there seemed to be loads of great strikers in year 4. At the practice, Tom had a great game and scored twice. He even passed the ball to Barney when he could have scored a hat-trick, but he passed it to his best friend instead. Unfortunately, Barney hit the bar. Barney had been one of those games. Whatever he did, it all went wrong. Afterwards, Mr. Barnes had a quiet word with Barney, and Tom could see his friend was disappointed. The team list went up the next day, and sure enough, Barney's name wasn't on it, although Tom's was. Tom felt terrible. He really wanted both of them to play in the tournament on Saturday. He even considered telling Mr. Barnes that he couldn't make it on Saturday, but his dad told him that would be letting the rest of the team down. It was Friday, the day before the tournament, and for the first time since they started school, the two boys did not play together at break time or lunchtime that day. Barney stayed in to do a job at break and went to athletics club at lunchtime without telling Tom. At home time, Barney had gone home before Tom had even found his coat in the cloakroom. Tom felt terrible. He wished he'd not scored those goals at the practice now. The next day, the morning of the tournament, Tom got out of his dad's car in the local secondary school in his new school kit and met up with the rest of the team. Barney, meanwhile, lay in bed with the covers over his head. "Barney, your breakfast is ready," shouted Dad from the kitchen. He felt so bad about not being part of the team that he wanted to stay in bed all day. Dad had cooked him his favourite breakfast, scrambled egg and bacon with larger than usual splodge of ketchup on the side. The smell drifted upstairs, under Barney's bedroom door, and made its way to Barney's nostrils. He couldn't resist. Dad's plan had worked, and a few minutes later, Barney was sitting at the breakfast table in his football pyjamas opposite Mum and Dad. "They'll be kicking off about now," Dad said. He decided to talk about the tournament. After all, he was certain Barney was thinking about nothing else. Replied Barney, unable to manage the actual word. "I wonder if Tom will score," asked Mum. "Probably," Barney said. "He's our top striker." And slowly but surely, Barney found himself feeling better. He stabbed a piece of bacon with his fork, heaped some scrambled egg on top and pushed it into his mouth. As he munched, he began to talk more about the tournament and how he hoped they would win. "Why don't we go along and support them?" Dad suggested. "Could we?" Barney asked. The thought of being there made him feel happier than he had for days. "Of course we can," Dad replied. "Eat up and get some clothes on." 3 wins out of 3 got the team into the final. Tom played superbly and scored no fewer than 5 goals. They sat in the circle on the grass at the edge of the pitch listening to Mr. Barnes as he went on through the plan for the final. Just as he finished talking, a car turned up into the car park. "It's Barney," Tom said, jumping up and running over to the car. Barney could see the delighted look on Tom's face and instantly knew he'd done the right thing. As he got out of the car, his friends surrounded him, telling him every detail of their 3 victories. And even though he wasn't in the team, he felt part of it. He'd come to support the team despite being left out. Mr. Barnes put his hand on Barney's shoulder. "Thanks for coming, Barney. You're just in time to see the final, and I'm sure the team will play even better now that you're here." And that was true. But unfortunately, their opponents, Newton Football Club, were in no mood to lose. They had won all of their matches too, and within 30 seconds of the final starting, Mill Lane Juniors were losing. Barney immediately blamed himself for coming. "Maybe I put them off," he thought, and he was just about to ask his dad to take him home when Tom headed the basketball into their goalkeeper into the bottom of the net. The game then became very tense, with few chances for either team, and after considerable amount of nail-biting and pacing up and down by the parents, and particularly Mr. Barnes, it ended up 1-1. "Penalties," announced the referee. Barney stood with the team as one by one each player took the penalty. Tom kicked his first, and just as Barney had done in the practice match, it hit the bar, much to the delight of Newtown Football Club. Fortunately, however, as good a team as Newtown were, they obviously didn't practice penalty taking very often, and not one of them hit the target, making it easy for the rest of Tom's teammates, and Mill Lane Juniors were soon crowned champions. As the parents lined up in the cameras, Mr. Barnes made sure that Barney was on the team photograph, standing next to Tom, his best friend. "Thanks for coming, Barney. You'll always be my best friend," Tom whispered, as everyone else shouted, "Champions," for the camera. Perhaps you've got a good friendship with someone like Tom and Barney have, and I encourage you to make some new friends as well in your new bubbles and your new groups. Perhaps that's already happened this week. So as we close today, I'd like you all to be quiet. You might want to put your head down as we finish with a prayer. Dear God, thank you for our friends, for the games and the fun that we play, for the secrets we share, for the laughs and giggles, for the good times and the bad. Please help us to be a good friend. Amen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, St. Paul's, and perhaps once you close this video, you might talk in your bubbles about who your teachers have chosen as the star of the week. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye-bye.